The fluorescent lights of Nexera Solutions hummed with a sterile, judgmental buzz. To Maya Chin, they'd always felt like the watchful eyes of a disapproving god. For 7 years, she'd poured her soul into the brand innovation division, climbing from junior analyst to senior strategist through sheer grit, late nights, and ideas that consistently outperformed projections. Her Project Aurora campaign had single-handedly revitalized their flagship product line, earning the company millions and a coveted industry award. Yet, the plaque sat gathering dust in her modest cubicle, while the corner office remained stubbornly occupied by men whose primary qualification seemed to be, well, being men. The trouble started subtly, like a slow poison. After the Aurora success, instead of the promised promotion to director, Maya was met with vague platitudes from her boss, Julian Reeves. "Your work is valuable, Maya," he'd said, his smile not quite reaching his cold, calculating eyes. "But leadership requires a certain presence. Perhaps you need more time to develop that." The implication hung heavy in the air. "You're not one of us." Then came the restructuring. Overnight, her carefully built team was dismantled. Her key collaborators were reassigned to Julian's pet projects, while she was saddled with impossible deadlines, contradictory directives, and mountains of menial, administrative tasks that had nothing to do with strategy. Her meticulously crafted reports were returned with nonsensical, scathing critiques in Julian's sharp, angular handwriting, lacks strategic vision. Overly complex. Tone inappropriate for client. Yet, when identical concepts surfaced weeks later in presentations by Julian or his golden boy, Derek, they were hailed as brilliant insights. The whispers started next. Not loud, but insidious. Snippets overheard in the break room. "She's so intense, hard to work with, probably why she's still single." Maya, who preferred quiet focus to forced office camaraderie, suddenly found herself labeled aloof and difficult. Her requests for clarification on shifting priorities were met with sighs and eye rolls. Her attempts to schedule crucial meetings were accidentally double-booked or forgotten. Her access to key client data portals mysteriously glitched for days. The breaking point arrived on a Tuesday. Maya had spent 3 sleepless nights finalizing the pitch deck for the colossal Vanacore account, Nexera's biggest potential client in years. She knew it was her best work yet. Innovative, data-driven, perfectly tailored. She emailed it to Julian and the executive team at 6 a.m., exhausted but proud. At the 9 a.m. strategy meeting, Julian strode in, radiating confidence. He didn't acknowledge Maya's presence. Instead, he launched into her presentation. Slide by slide, word for word, he presented her ideas as his own, weaving in just enough superficial tweaks to claim originality. When Maya, heart hammering against her ribs, gently interjected, "Julian, that was actually the deck I sent this morning," he cut her off with a condescending chuckle. "Maya, darling," he purred, turning to the room with a practiced, dismissive smile, always so eager to take credit. "But let's be real, your initial draft was unworkable. Full of those overly theoretical tangents you're prone to. I had to completely rework it overnight to make it client-ready. Honestly, it's a testament to the team's ability to salvage things." The room, filled with colleagues who'd witnessed her late nights and heard the whispers, stayed silent. Some looked down. Derek smirked. Humiliation burned Maya's cheeks. But worse was the cold dread coiling in her stomach. This wasn't just theft, it was erasure. The bullying escalated into outright sabotage. Her computer crashed, deleting weeks of work. Crucial emails she'd sent vanished from the server logs. During a client call, Julian deliberately misstated figures Maya had provided, then blamed her sloppy prep when the client expressed confusion. HR, when she finally mustered the courage to report the pattern, was chillingly bureaucratic. "We take all concerns seriously, Maya," droned Cynthia from HR, not meeting her eyes. But without concrete evidence of malicious intent, and given Julian's stellar performance reviews, perhaps you're misinterpreting stress? "Have you considered our employee assistance program for coping strategies?" They were gaslighting her into believing she was the problem. The whispers grew louder, morphing into open hostility. Sticky notes appeared on her monitor. know your place. Less talk, more coffee. Her ergonomic chair was accidentally replaced with a broken one. Her lunch, left in the communal fridge, was found dumped in the trash bin, labeled Maya's leftovers. Do not touch. Probably poisonous. The final, cruel blow came via a formal performance improvement plan, PP. Delivered by Julian and Cynthia, their faces masks of false concern. The document was a masterpiece of bureaucratic cruelty. It cited failure to meet deadlines Julian himself had moved without notice, poor collaboration. Her attempts to clarify tasks were documented as disruptive questioning and lack of strategic alignment. Her award-winning Aurora strategy was now deemed outdated. The PP demanded impossible metrics within an absurdly short time frame, with the thinly veiled threat, fail this, and you're out. Maya sat in her car after receiving the PIP, the rain streaking the windshield like tears. The weight of 7 years of dedication, stolen ideas, and systematic humiliation pressed down, threatening to crush her. She thought of her student loans, her aging parents who relied on her, the dream of leading her own team. Nexera Solutions wasn't just trying to fire her, they were trying to break her spirit, to make her crawl away in shame so they could claim she wasn't cut out for it. But something snapped. Not her spirit, but the last thread of her willingness to endure their cruelty in silence. That night, fueled by righteous fury and 3 cups of strong coffee, Maya didn't pack her resignation. Instead, she opened a new document. She meticulously compiled everything, dated emails showing her original work, screenshots of the sabotage tasks, recordings legal in her state with one-party consent, of Julian taking credit and making disparaging remarks. The timeline of the PP's impossible demands, the HR dismissals. She documented the sticky notes, the trashed lunch, the broken chair. She reached out discreetly to former colleagues who'd also been pushed out, a quiet network of the disposable. She didn't go to HR again. She went higher. She bypassed Julian, bypassed Cynthia, and sent her meticulously curated dossier, titled The Systematic Targeting and Sabotage of Maya Chin at Nexera Solutions, directly to the CEO, the board of directors, and, crucially, to a prominent industry journalist known for exposing corporate malfeasance. The fallout was nuclear. The CEO, facing a potential PR nightmare and shareholder revolt, launched an immediate, independent investigation. Julian's carefully constructed facade crumbled under scrutiny. His stellar reviews were revealed to be based on stolen work. Derek, terrified of being implicated, turned state's evidence, confirming the pattern of theft and sabotage. HR's complicity in ignoring documented complaints became glaringly obvious. Nexera Solutions offered Maya a massive settlement, a public apology, and the director position she'd earned years ago. They begged her to stay, to be the face of their renewed commitment to equity. Maya looked at the offer, then at the view from her apartment window, the city lights, free and unburdened. She thought of the 7 years stolen, the nights of tears hidden in bathroom stalls, the constant erosion of her confidence. She declined the settlement money, donating it to a Women in Tech legal fund. She declined the director title. She wrote a scathing, eloquent op-ed for the Business Journal, detailing her ordeal not as a personal vendetta, but as a systemic failure, a blueprint for how companies quietly purge talented women they find inconvenient. Her final act at Nexera was walking out on a Friday afternoon, not with a box of belongings, but with her head held high, past the stunned silence of the office, past Julian's ashen face, past the suddenly averted eyes of those who'd whispered. She didn't look back.